In this video, I'm going to explain what a converse statement is and how to write one. So we can take the converse of conditional statements. A conditional statement looks like if something, which we're going to call P, then something else, which we'll call Q. So if we have a conditional statement that says if P then Q, then the converse statement says if Q then P. So what we're doing is we're switching the two if and then things. So for example, here's a statement. It says if you are a girl, then you are a person. And this, of course, is a true statement. Okay, so the you are a girl, that's my P, and you are a person, that's Q. Okay, so to write the converse of this statement, we're just going to switch P and Q. So here's the converse of that statement. The Q was you are a person, so now it says if you are a person, and P was you are a girl. So the converse is if you are a person, then you are a girl. And of course that's false. You might be a boy or alternatively an adult. So here's another example. It says if you have a math test today, then today is a weekday. So the P is you have a math test today, and Q is today is a weekday. And this is true. I hope this is true. If you have math tests on your weekend, it's not ideal. So to get the converse statement, we're going to switch P and Q. And so here's what we get when we do that. If today is a weekday, that's if Q, then you have a math test today. That's then P. And this, hopefully, is also is false. If you had a math test every weekday, that'd be kind of a bad scene. So sometimes a statement can be true, and the two examples we've seen were true statements with false converses. Or you could have a false statement with a true converse, or they could both be false, or they could both be true. I just wanted to choose a couple examples where they're different, one's true and one's false, just to show you that if one's true, the other's not necessarily true. I just want to make a note about grammar. The difficulty comes in just because sometimes in English we use pronouns to replace nouns that if we've already explained who the nouns are. For example, you might be talking about Emily and then later you might call her she. So it's totally normal in English. But usually we introduce the subject first and then we replace it with the pronoun. So when we switch the order here, sometimes we just have to be careful with the pronouns. Okay, so usually a conditional statement, it says if, and then there's a subject. So that's the person who's doing the action. It might be a triangle, it might be a cow, it could be anything. And then verb phrase. So this is what they're doing. They might be being a weekday, it could be anything. Then there's the subject, often the same subject, not always, and then another verb phrase. Okay, so here, if two chords, so that's the subject, are equidistant from the center of the circle, that's the verb phrase, then there's the subject, are of equal length, that's the verb phrase. Okay, so the subject and the verb phrase together, they make P and Q. So an awkward way to switch this is you take all of Q, they are of equal length, and you say if they are of equal length, then, and you take all of P, two chords are equidistant from the center of the circle. Then, two chords are equidistant from the center of the circle. It's just awkward. This one isn't even terrible, but it's awkward because when you start the sentence, you don't know what they're talking about. If they are of equal length, well, what? And like you can figure it out later, but it's not good writing. So when you've used pronouns, you just to go back and explain who the subject is. So it's better to say if two chords are of equal length, then you can use the pronoun there, or you could say the two chords are equidistant from the center. Okay, so you're still switching P and Q, you're still doing exactly the same thing. It's just to get around our shortcuts in English, just be really careful with the pronouns and make sure you explain what the pronouns are referring to before you use the pronouns. Okay, good luck with it.